What I have here is a fake Revoltech Arkham Batman that a lot of you guys wanted me to review, so is he any good? Let's find out! Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're gonna take a look at so-called ACT knockoff of amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Arkham Batman. And I want to say thank you to the guys from Selix Wholesale Toy Store on AliExpress for sending this review sample. In case you're interested in getting this Batman KO, you can use my link in the video description. Now, if you guys are followers of the channel, then you probably already know this, but in case you are new here, just a quick recap. When I found out about this KO, I talked to the guys from CT and few other AliExpress sellers, and they all told me the same thing, that this figure is not that good. They actually said it's bad. Now, they all had it in stock and could have simply tell me that it's good so that I get it, but they didn't. But this Selix Wholesale Toy Store said that they will send me a review sample, but I first wanted to check with the community here on the channel if they are interested in it. And so I made a poll asking if I should get it, and most of you who voted said yes. So here we are. I do have the original of this figure as well, so I will compare the two a little later in the video. But first, a quick look at the packaging. And it's a standard Revoltech box, but of course, with this being a knockoff, there is no writing on it. No names, no logos, or anything other than the images. And as you can see, this is the exact same image as on the original packaging, but without, as I said, any writing. The quality of the print, the resolution, is obviously not the same on this KO as it is on the original. Here the image is lighter and much more crisp, while here it is kind of darker and blurrier. On the side we have the figure in a fighting pose. There are much more promo shots on the back of the box, and they show us all included accessories minus the alternate store exclusive angry faceplate, which is included here but is not shown on these images. Other side shows two close-up shots of the figure, and here on the top we actually do have some logos here, the Batman Arkham logo and DC logo. I guess they either forgot to remove these or they just didn't care. And this sticker says that this is made by the new factory, simply called New Factory. There's nothing on the bottom, but now let's open up the box and let's take a look at the figure. Here is Arkham Batman KO out of the box, and judging by the first look, this doesn't look that bad. I still didn't compare him to the original because I first want to see this guy on his own, and so far he looks good. The plastic feels solid, doesn't feel cheap. I also don't see any loose joints at the moment. This Batman KO is around 15.2 centimeters tall to the top of his head and 16 centimeters tall to the top of his bat ears, and if I remember correctly, original figure is around 16.5 centimeters tall. So this copy is slightly shorter. The proportions are what you expect from a Revoltech figure, and I talked about it already in my review of the original, but I've heard people complaining about his legs being too short, but personally I'm not sure that that's the case. The other thing people also complained is his height, and on that one I agree. He should be taller than some other figures in this line. There is also an aesthetic issue here with all the cuts in the sculpt for articulation purposes, and that is why these Revoltech figures are probably not for everyone in terms of look, but in terms of posability, they are probably the best on the market. Now, let's talk about the cape for a moment. It is wired, of course, and you can see how large it is when spread out like this. But if you guys are wondering, yes, the cape is connected to the shoulders underneath shoulder pads, same as on the original. But on my copy, these wires on both sides, they stop here, just before the shoulder pads. It's not a big issue because they still hold the pose, but I would prefer the wire to go inside and connect to the body. You also get 7 more wires throughout the cape, so 9 in total. But unfortunately, none of them are connected to the figure. The cape does go here behind this part, but the wires don't. You can even see one of them poking through the fabric. And you can also see that this connection here looks kind of rough. They will still hold the pose when you bend them in any direction, except when you want to pose the cape up, like this, like when he's jumping down on someone. The wires won't be able to hold that pose, they will always fall down, and that is again because they are not connected to the body. But the material looks and feels good. It's an imitation of leather, and it has a little bit of texture, but you can see that it doesn't look the same on the inner side, where it is matte, while here it is kind of shiny. Here is a closer look at the default head, and I mean, I don't know, it looks fine. I mean, the original also looks kind of strange, kind of weird, and this one also tries to copy that, but I don't know. It looks kind of rough, kind of soft, like it is a little bit melted on some parts, on some details, but I would still give it a pass. I mean, it's a knockoff and it's not made by one of those, at this point, well-known KO companies, so this is good enough, I guess, but I would leave that to you guys to decide if you like how this KO head sculpt turned out. The neck looks good. Here is a look at the torso with the bat symbol and all the panels and layers of the armor, and I like this metallic shiny finish. All the small silver details are nicely painted, and then here is how the shoulder pad looks, and then the arms and his gauntlets with these spikes, and then his fisted hands with silver knuckles. Here is a closer look at the belt with all the details painted silver and gold. Here is how the back of the figure looks behind the cape, and then a closer look at his legs with armored boots, and they also have these silver details that are cleanly painted. And finally, the bottom of the boots that are nicely sculpted, but here we have some silver paint that shouldn't be there. So in terms of aesthetics, while there are some issues, some rough spots, mostly on the cape and on the head sculpt, this knockoff still doesn't look that bad. Let's now take a look at his articulation. The head and the neck give you some nice range of movement. He can look side to side and then tilt the head side to side. Here is how far he can look down and then up, and this is a really nice range. We have that standard deep Revoltech butterfly joint, but when moving them you need to be careful to hold on to the cape as well, just so that you don't break anything. Here is how far the arms go across the chest, and then here is how far they go back. There is a little bit of rotation, but that movement is restricted obviously by the cape being connected underneath the shoulder pauldron and all of that being glued to his shoulders, so you won't get that 360 rotation. But this is how far the arms go out. There is a bicep cut here. It is stuck on both arms and I just can't move it. Then we get another swivel in the elbows, and this is how far he can bend the elbows, but these elbow joints are really stiff and hard to move. Then we get another swivel in the wrists, and they hinge in all directions. There are two cuts in the torso, one is up here and the other one is behind the belt, but while the upper one moves and gives you a great range of movement, this lower one is really stuck. It is really hard to move and I'm afraid that I will break something, so I will leave it at that. These pieces of the belt are made out of a rubbery softer plastic and they move out of the way, but they are glued here in the back, and these pouches also have a swivel. So this is how far he can tilt side to side, here is how much he can bend forward, and then here is how far he bends back. So forwards and back is not bad, but you will have a tough time moving this lower piece left to right. This is how far the legs go out, and then here is how far they move forwards and back. We have a thigh cut, knees that bend in all the way, then we have a boot cut, but the feet are really limited. They move forward only slightly. This foot falls out really easy, and this piece as well. It is just pegged in here like this, but this is really an issue. And I mean, the way that it's designed, the movement is there, and it is much better when you remove this piece. Then you will get, see, it pops off easily. See how floppy it is when you connect it? And that's his foot, one of the most important parts of articulation, and it's really loose on this figure, unfortunately. They move forward only slightly and then slightly back, so the range is really bad, and we do have a toe joint here, but it's really floppy, really loose. On this other one it's fine, but this one is really loose. And then we do get a little bit of side to side ankle swivel. And of course, I already talked about the cape. We have 9 wires in it, but none of them are connected to the figure. So I don't know. I mean, in terms of articulation, most of it is good. It's the same as on the original, but as you saw, some of the parts, like the foot, the elbows being too tight, bicep swivel not working, lower part of the torso being stuck as well, and the wires not being connected to the figure, all of those are some issues that you will have to deal with if you decide to get this knockoff. And now, after all of this, I see why guys from CT and other AliExpress sellers told me that that this guy is not that good. Now, I'm sure that there are ways you can customize this and fix those issues, because this guy does cost cheaper than the original, of course. If that's something you want to do, that's fine. I'm sure there are ways to make this copy look much better, and the main thing for me would be to fix this foot. Again, if you're a customizer, you know how to fix all of this. This could still be a nice knockoff for you. Let's now take a look at his accessories. He comes with a stand that you need to assemble. He has a pair of fisted hands that are already on him. Then we get a pair of grabbing hands, a pair of open hands, and then one hand that has his grappling hook attached to it. And we get this extension piece that plugs in, or at least it should plug in, but it doesn't want to go in all the way, so it will stick out like this. But then we get another one of these pieces, and this one actually has a grappling hook connected to it. And no, I tried both ways, but this is still not going in all the way. We do get the other grappling hook as well that goes on the other side here. Yeah, that goes in, but this piece doesn't want to connect all the way. All in all, you can still display it like this, and this is the look that you get. We also get two versions of his batarangs. Then we get two versions of his little tool for deciphering that he used in the game, the closed one and the open one. And unfortunately, this KO does not come with those translucent screens that should connect to this device. The original does come with those. You can even see that there is a peg hole here where those screens should connect, but again, we don't get those in this knockoff set. So now you know. But the thing that we do get here, and that we don't get with the standard original release, is this alternate angry faceplate. This is the one that was locked behind the Kyoto store exclusive, and I actually don't have this for my original Revoltech Arkham Batman. There's at least something useful for me in this set. This faceplate does look good. The eyes are still kind of weird, but they are weird on the original as well. You also get this little tool for moving his eyeballs, and that's something that you can do on both faceplates, and that's something that the original does as well. And to switch the faceplate, we simply remove this one and we peg in the alternate, and yeah, it fits perfectly. And here are the two faces side by side. I think that the angry one does look better. Does this feature work on this knockoff? Let's see. I don't know. These are really stiff and hard to move, so there's that. And to switch out the hands, we simply remove these, and here is how the wrist peg looks. It is also really tight, so make sure you heat up the plastic before moving the joints, and then we can give him one of his alternate hands. It does fit nicely, it holds, it's not falling out, so that's good. Let's now compare this guy to some other figures, and we're gonna start with the main comparison, and that is how this KO on the right looks next to the original on the left. And you can see it like this, but also in person, the difference is immediately noticeable. First of all, as I already mentioned earlier, original is around 16.5 centimeters tall to the top of his bat ears, so it is taller, bigger than the knockoff. On the knockoff, everything is slightly scaled down. Sculpt is also sharper on the original, and the suit is gray on the original, while it is bluish on the KO. The cape is also much better on the original. It is made of a shinier material, stitching is much better, much more subtle, and the wires do go all the way up underneath this piece here and under the shoulder pauldrons. They are connected under there and hold every pose you want. And the inner side of the cape is slightly lighter on the KO. Here is how the two heads look side by side, and I mean, it's obvious that the original is better. Everything is sharper and skin tone of the face is more realistic than on the KO, where it is too pale, almost white. The bat ears are also different. They are slightly curved in on the original, and they are sharper, pointier. Here is how the two look from the side and from the back. But one good thing is that the alternate angry faceplate that comes with this KO does fit on the original head. And I did have to cut off a little bit of extra plastic that was poking out of this connection here. It was easy to do, and here we go. The connection is really good. There is a little bit of gappage down here around the chin. The original is slightly smaller, as we saw, but this still looks pretty good. The skin tone is obviously still too pale in comparison to the original, but since I didn't get this alternate face with the original, this is something that I can definitely use now. So here is how that alternate faceplate looks on the original figure. But yeah, there is a definite difference between the original and a KO. KO is still good, especially if you can't get the original, but if it was made by CT or AC Toys, I'm sure it would be much better. Here is how he scales with the original Revoltech Joker and a knockoff Revoltech Joker, and this guy just came in and I am really disappointed with how he looks. I know that I was warned by the guys from CT and some other sellers on AliExpress, same as what they told me for this guy. They told me that this is a really bad copy, and it turned out they were right. This is a really bad copy. Maybe not for the body, but for the head sculpt, definitely. I will review him as well, so stay tuned for that. But for now, this is what we get, and you can see how all three of these guys stand together. Here's how he scales with Nota Studios Nota Man and InArt 112 The Dark Knight Batman. Here we have him next to a few others, Revoltech bootlegs. We have the City Toys Agent Venom and an AliExpress knockoff of 2.0 Deadpool. Here we have him with City Toys Brown Suit Wolverine and the Amazing Spider-Man, with the SH Figuarts Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and Sentinel Peter B. Parker. Then we have him next to Mayfax Classic Suit Spidey and Daredevil. Then with Marvel Legends X-Men 97 Wolverine and Symbiote Spidey. Then we have him next to Star Wars The Black Series Vader and Stormtrooper. And to see how he scales with some larger figures, here he is next to NECA TMNT Movie Raphael and Masters of the Universe Revelation He-Man. And then with NECA Feral Predator and Savage Crucible Veteris Repax. And finally, here is how he scales with YOLO Park Transformers AMK Pro Series, Optimus and Starscream. So there you go, that was my look at ACT or New Factory knockoff of Amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Arkham Batman. Is it a perfect copy? Of course not. Is it good for a KO? I would say yes, it's definitely better than what I was expecting, because after what I've heard from CT and few other AliExpress sellers, I thought it will be much worse than this, but it's actually fine. It is obviously not on the same quality as CT Toys or AC Factory knockoffs, but it's still the only one we have for now. As you saw, there are some issues with this figure. The cape is kind of messy, wires are not connected to the body, head sculpt is kind of soft and skin tone is pale, lower torso is stiff and the foot is falling off, so I would definitely prefer the original, especially if you can find it for a good price. I got mine for around 60 bucks on AmiAmi, and this KO is around 37 euros on AliExpress. That's around 20 bucks difference, and for that, again, I would rather go with the original. That's just how I feel. But if you disagree, of course, this copy is fine. It will still serve as a nice display option, and you will still have a lot of fun posing it around. Just be aware of what you are getting and know that this guy will require some customizing. But that's it. That's all from me for this video. Again, a big thank you to the Celix Wholesale Toy Store on AliExpress for sending me this review sample. And now I would love to hear you guys. What do you think about this knockoff? Do you like how it looks? Do you plan on getting it? Let me know all of it down in the comments. As always, a huge thank you to my Patreon and channel members for their support. If you can also join and help, please do so. Links are in the video description. And of course, to all of you guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here with me, and I'll see ya in the next video.